Need men?
Yes. Just like we need women. We need both. I don't think there's a world where it can just, you don't think, okay.
What do you think?
Andrew's meditating on that one. Huh? Oh, she wants to tangle on that one.
I'm not convinced on that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But for the same reasons that you wouldn't be, right? So I just say, like,
guess so.
sure, men are total monsters, right?
I didn't say that.
And since they could, well, no, this is me, right?
Okay.
It's like, okay, if men really are have the capacity to just be kind of like these oppressive monsters, then why not just handmaid tale the whole thing? You just put all the women in the cages, right? And just like livestock them if you wanted to. Women could never do that in opposition. And so because of that, I'm like, well, it seems like men are pretty benevolent because they really could and have in other countries done that, like in the Middle East, places like this. They completely strip the rights of women kind of overnight. And women can't really do much about it, but they can't do it in reverse, right? They can't make men do this in reverse. So when the question becomes, are women necessary? It's like, yeah, I can agree that women are necessary to have children, but are they necessary to run a society? Clearly not. Like, clearly not. Like, I can point to you many societies right now where they're totally unnecessary in the running of the society. Like, that's just factually true. Now, what you're doing is you're taking this in your head. I can tell you this right now. Here's what you're doing. You're
You know
going,
exactly what I'm
he
thinking.
actually believes that you should put women in cages and do horrible things. Even though I literally never said a
didn't say
word
that.
like
I
that.
didn't think that. You're
I
putting
just
words
want
in my
I just
mouth
want to
right
let you
now.
know
I
right
didn't
now
think
that
that.
that's not my ought claim. I'm just saying what is
Well,
true.
good, but I wasn't
So we
thinking
should-
that.
Yeah. So what is true is that no, I don't think society needs women to function. I don't think it needs them in any support role, really. I don't think it needs them in any leadership role whatsoever. I think that if women were essentially relegated to second-class citizens, as an is statement, not an ought, as an is statement, if women were relegated to second-class citizens, I think society would be fine.
That's really upsetting to hear. So you really just think that women exist to give birth?
See,
and
that's the
it?
ought. See the
That's
ought
what
saying,
I'm
I see the
hearing.
ought. You see the ought there that you did there?
So that's
You
what I'm
think
hearing.
women
So you
only
don't-
exist to do that's an ought claim. I'm
Well,
not
that's what
saying
you're-
ought.
So what do you?
I
so
don't
what are they
think
good
women
for other
only
than
exist
birth?
to do
What
that.
are they
I'm
good for
telling
other
you
than-
descriptively. I want you to answer to the descriptor
Well, can
with
you
a counter
answer-
descriptor. I think it is true, not ought to be, but is true, that if women were relegated to second-class citizens,
Touch My Blade donated $200. If all men passed instantly, or if all women passed.
this guy's like
Thanos
always 5
snap.
seconds behind me
Who
on
would
this.
last longer?
Okay.
Think infrastructure, power, water, food, farming, etc.
I just want the counter descriptor. So I'm not saying this should be true. I'm not saying that you should do any of this, because you shouldn't. I'm just giving the descriptor of what is correct and accurate. So from my view, it is correct, descriptively true, that if all women were made into second-class citizens tomorrow, they had no real rights, they were not allowed in government positions of any kind, nor leadership positions, that society would be just fine. There would not be any, like, I can't really even envision, I just really can't even really envision any problems, honestly. So I'm waiting for a counter descriptor to say, nope, I do think that there would be lots and lots and lots of problems, and here's what they would be. But I don't want to hear ought, what we should do, because I already agree with you, we shouldn't do this.
Well, not enough women have even been in government to prove that they have the capabilities to help run it.
Yeah, but
I-
that doesn't counter the descriptor of what of this being true. Like, I'm just going to grant that. Like, maybe women would be the bestest rulers ever. Let's say they occupied 90% of government, they'd be way better than men. My descriptor, though, is just that if all women were relegated to second-class citizenry, I don't see why society wouldn't function fine.
I mean, I just disagree with you just on the grounds of you can't have one, strata or like one type of person be in power.
Well, it wouldn't be one type of person. It would be
men?
thousands of different types of people.
Men. It would be men.
Yeah, but wait,
And then
there's
the
only,
only-
well, there's only two types of humans, right? Men and women.
Right.
Right, so there's male
So
and
one
female.
type of person
But can't we
is-
point to cultures right now where women are completely disenfranchised from all power roles and the society functions fine?
Not for them. They're miserable.
Well, no,
they're
it's not
oppressed.
good
they
for
can't do the things they want to do.
I agree, it's not good for the women. The women don't like it. But that not contending again with the descriptor. The descriptor is, would society be fine? Like you could have
No,
a
because
totally
society
oppressed
includes
underclass.
the happiness of their citizens and the abilities for them to act out according to their own needs and wants. And so if women are oppressed and they can't do that, then it's not a stable and good society for everybody.
What if they have a massive brainwashing program which convinces all of the women that they're actually happy? As many of these nations do. And so the women report, we're really happy. No, I'm not kidding. Like this is true right this second. I can point to many countries where this is the case.
Gulf states.
Yep.
Yep.
Tons of them.
You look at countries like Qatar, Dubai. They
Yeah.
don't have really any women in positions of power at all.
Tomorrow, here's how it's
Make
going to
us
be.
second-class citizens, and there'll be
here's
no
Twitter.
problems
Here's
then.
Twitter tomorrow, right? Andrew Wilson says we should do thing. I literally said we should never do. Just giving a descriptor, but I can already tell. He wants women in cages. I can hear it now.
Low Paladin says, thank you, Andrew. Vote Andrew 2024 Taliban party. But seriously, you've already absorbed anti-baby propaganda, Idiocracy, Handmaid's Tale, even cartoons you watched as a baby. Fern Gully, Too Many Human. That was a banger of a movie.
By the way, that other guy, real sharp. What's his name? Slade.
Blade.
Blade. Yeah.
Touch My Blade.
He seems
Touch
like
My Blade.
He seems
Good.
like he's on it.
He's on point. He's been firing off. Well, I think also maybe Andrew, you can speak to like the actual, I guess, practical application here when it comes to men being involved in critical infrastructure. And is that kind of the angle that you're coming at this with? Like,
No, I'm literally coming at it from all angles. If women were removed from all societal function, like let's say that this is a Middle Eastern nation where you can't even walk down the street without like having a male escort. Those nations, I'm not kidding, they exist right now. I know that for some reason feminists think that this is like, you're talking about a hypothetical handmaid's tale. These civilizations exist right now and they have hundreds of millions of people in them. Hundreds of millions. If you remove women from all critical roles in society, these nations keep going fine. Like, in many cases, they thrive. Like, that is descriptively true. So I don't even know why people argue it. It's like,
is Dubai like
I
that?
agree.
it's
I
true.
agree. But
Dubai's a little bit more liberal, but like
Yeah.
yeah, it's just true, right? And
you
it's
look
like-
at countries like Saudi. It's like that.
It's like
Saudi's
that.
a pretty prosperous country.
It's like that all over the Middle East. It's like that in many regions of Asian nations as well. It's like that in many places where like women are completely removed from all positions of power, authority, autonomy, and just the societies function. Like now, you can say it's not optimal. Sure, you can say it's morally reprehensible. Agreed. But that's not taking away the fact that they work.
Touch My Blade donated $200. I'm Australian, so we still know what's up, lads.
See?
Great
Another one.
stream.
Did he lose you now with the Australian thing? He lost you.
Fucking
Andrew.
people have been
Another
sitting
one.
here
Touch
trying to
My
convince
Blade.
me forever that
Another
this country
style.
exists.
It's not a real
Can
country.
I make a comment about what you said? Because
Yeah.
it's actually a great point. One of my favorite graphic novels is called Why the Last Man. And
Yeah, I've read it.
yeah, and essentially one day all of the men just,
With Yori?
Drop.
Isn't that his name? Yori or Yorin or something?
yeah, Yorick.
Yorick.
Yeah, and society completely fell apart because women only make up like 2% of engineers
Yeah.
or doctors, and they didn't know what to do. I mean, you have to read it. It's actually a really cool perspective.
Society was completely decimated. It was
Yeah,
one last,
and they went
yeah.
insane because it
Yeah.
helps you realize like how much men actually have a role in society. When I feel like this generation, in the sense, makes it seem like they don't, or try to downplay men, and it's very easy to forget how important they are and how much they do have to contribute and how much expectations that are put on them from the moment they're born.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you push this point, right, that people actually get very, very upset if you just kind of point out obvious things that contend with their kind of preconceived notions. In this particular case, most of human history, most of human society, and currently, I would say most societies in the world outside of the West, women are relegated to secondary roles. And society has absolutely flourished. I just want, right? Except the West. The West is the only one way below thresholds of birth rates. They're the ones who are way below kind of these thriving rates. And so it's like, descriptively, I can clearly see that women were relegated historically to a lesser role, and in most nations, right this second, they're relegated to a lesser role. And these societies function fine. So this like idea that women must be in all these places, it's just absurd to me. I don't even understand why anybody would argue with that. They could say, again, you can make the moral arguments against it. I would agree, right? I don't want them in a secondary role. I'm just saying that descriptively, I can see with my own eyeballs that these societies are not going like out of existence because women are not in government.
I would like to bring it back to dating for at least the most of the end of the show, but you do seem to be shaking your head here. Is there still a disagreement
I'm
on
done.
this?
I'm done.
You're
Yeah,
done?
I'm done.
Was it the misogyny? Was it the raging Andrew Wilson misogyny that did it? Even though it was like or it wasn't claims,
It's
excuse
just
me.
always like men are superior.
Yeah, like, okay, you proved you're better. Like, I don't know, like, what are you even trying? Why?
Not-
Why are you
it's-
arguing for that?
I never argued for
Any
it.
validation?
I don't think he was saying.
By the
men are
way, I
better,
just want to
'cause
let you know. Hang on, I just want to let you know. I never argued for it. Hang on. I would like you to acknowledge that not one time did I actually argue for that. No. Nope,
Wait.
can't do it. If you give a descriptor, you believe it. Right?
Do you think society would be better without men?
I don't think society would be better without men or women. Like, there need
Well-
to be both. And
well,
also,
for
to answer your
reproduction.
point,
For
for a
reproduction.
society,
No,
women need
for
to be
reproduction.
nurturers, educators, caregivers. And that's not to say that they can't also do other things. And yes, maybe this book you read proved that, like, there are 3% or 2% of engineers or doctors or whatever. But if in a world, hypothetically, if men did not exist, a world could still flourish with just women. I'm not, like, it can, if just men, a world could flourish. Just women,
Well-
a world could flourish. But with both, there needs to be some kind of level ground where both can flourish at the same time without pushing down another.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I almost wonder if this is more so like, and we've gone into these like apocalyptic scenarios where what would happen if all men disappeared instantly or all women disappeared instantly? And I think perhaps Andrew, a little bit of what he's getting to, although he seems to have expanded on it a bit, is that if all women were to disappear, it would suck. That would be terrible. It would be the end of the species. But when it comes to the survival, Andrew disagrees. Okay, what the bone marrow shit? Okay, because men are involved in critical infrastructure, the world would continue. But if you were to remove all men from the world instantly, it would be catastrophic, and I think majority of women would be dead within 3 weeks.
If
Same with
women,
men.
Nope.
if women were allowed the education and resources that men had in the past,
They
would
are.
be able to have.
They
no,
are. Yes,
they weren't
they
allowed
are.
to have school before, and if we
In the
could,
past, today you can do anything as a
yes,
woman.
today,
Yeah, you just get paid less.
Women were always the most literate.
Oh no.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a
Just so you know,
fallacy.
women were always
It's
the
a
most
financial
literate.
fallacy.
literate.
Yeah, they were always the most literate. Actually, women knew how to read more
Yeah, but
than
you're
men
talking
did.
about engineering jobs. If we
Yep.
had opportunities,
But
to
the world
branch
would be better without
But
women.
so okay.
Well, hang on, I'll address it.
Wait.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. That almost nobody had an engineering job. Almost everybody worked locally, right?
Yeah.
You had localized farms, things like that. That's where most people kind of did what they did. There wasn't, when you're talking about specializations, things like that, wasn't a thing most people did. Most people kind of grew up in a region, stayed in that region, and they did things like family farms, kind of localized jobs, farm hands, things like that. It was mostly kind of labor-based rather than specialty-based. But women, right, interestingly enough, they actually had the highest literacy rates, still do. And so there was kind of an emphasis and a value put on that support role where it was more necessary than just, hey, dumb guy, lift heavy thing, right? So I've never really believed in the suppression Olympics that historically, because women had a different role, that meant that they were supremely oppressed in opposition to men. I've never thought that was true.
I feel like if they could fill other roles during that time, they could have flourished and become
Which
great
ones?
in their role.
Which roles?
Wait, what?
Which roles?
Like administration, government,
Well, okay, what in government?
anything, political positions.
What time
Well,
period
I
are
don't
you
understand how
referring
that.
to by
How would that have
medicine,
helped their
law.
practical skills?
Their practical skills.
Yeah. So his thought process here is like, okay, Because
if we had the
because
all-around
men are
resources
so
of men, we'd be
necessary.
more
men-
equal.
Yeah, because
we
men,
wouldn't be down here.
Okay,
we'd
but
be here.
hang on, I'll explain.
Okay, continue.
So he's saying if we remove all men from all the critical infrastructure, much of it they do because only they can do it, right? It actually requires great amount of physical strength to be an
I think it
underwater
would crumble
welder.
right now. It would crumble. It wouldn't.
Yeah. But if historically women had been, I don't know, allowed access to like engineering and things like this, which by and large they honestly did, just to a lesser degree, I don't understand how that would suddenly make them in charge of all this critical infrastructure that men move towards and women don't.
I feel like if women were never impressed in the past, then we would be more level.
Why?
Because we
Women in the most egalitarian nations on planet Earth still move away from engineering and applied science jobs and move towards, well, mostly secretarial work and service work, which is where they're at right now. If you look at the top 10 jobs of women, what do you think they are? It's like teacher, nurse, secretary, right? They're doing the same shit they were doing 100 years ago. When given the choice, in other words, they still move towards the same occupations that they were
because that's what they
moved
thought they
into.
could do. That's what society set up for them to do.
Right now.
Now we have more availability.
Then why do they move still towards?
I did that exactly, actually. I was originally going to study, I studied at Embry-Riddle. I was going to be an aerospace engineer, so I was getting my associates for engineering fundamentals, and I switched it to ultrasound tech.
Yeah.
You know, and it just means mostly calculus and trigonometry.
They're
It's
actually
not my
desperately
favorite.
trying to herd them into those
Positions,
career
yeah,
paths. Yeah,
absolutely.
but they just
They don't want
they're not doing it.
They don't want them.
Yeah.
Then I understand why men and women would have completely different interests in different things. You know, I totally understand why.
And then you take
Hey.
into account, for example, like roofing and concreting and all of these things that we're not even, these don't even require women to go to university, like applied
Private
engineering sort of role.
chat.
These are just like ice road trucking and all these really dangerous, heavy lifting jobs.
Blue collar workers.
Yeah, but we're not even talking
Here,
about those
Austin, can
ones.
you
That's
get
the
that
next
pulled
layer.
up, and then can you
I mean,
also
they physically couldn't do it.
can you get that pulled up, and then can you also
Exactly.
can you also get the
Yeah.
cockroach video, please? Do you have the cockroach video? Prioritize the cockroach video.
There's a cockroach video.
I don't think so.
Okay, go ahead. All right,
Plumbing.
just play it. Just play it. All right, this is a man. Not a lot of women are willing to do this job. Not it doesn't appear particularly dangerous, but it's dirty and it's gross.
Did you ask women that if they were willing to or not?
Yeah. It's been available to them. Sanitation workers have been available
Hold
to
on.
them for
Can I
years.
ask you? Are you scared of spiders?
Yes.
Are you scared of spiders? Be honest. Hold on.
Touch My Blade donated $200. I personally find it easier to learn language after I have shelter, food, water, security. Only mainly because without those things I'm not alive to learn language.
That's-
Just me though.
He's got money.
Scared of spiders?
Mosquitoes.
Scared of spiders?
Terrified of them.
Scared of spiders?
No.
No?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Okay.
Haven't I grabbed this right
You?
Well, not
I
scared
know
of
the
spiders.
cockroaches,
You?
Not
but
scared of
spiders.
spiders.
Okay.
What's his name? Are you scared of spiders?
No.
Have any of you ever
that 'cause
I
you're
just
asked?
crush them with my hand.
Yeah, it's because you're men, right?
But have any of you ever lived with a man or been in a room with a man and there was a bug of some kind?
Yeah, and he ran away screaming, so I got it for him.
That's a
Okay, well,
bear.
you date soy boy liberal cuts.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, it is what it is. But look, I've encountered my own anecdotal experience. I have spiders. I've had spiders in my rooms. Women are like, "Hey, a spider!"
Women you've been with.
But I'm not. I
I
don't.
say that about
You're
everybody.
with
I mean, I wouldn't do
submissive
that.
women that are willing to just do whatever you say.
Exactly.
What?
That's what
Well,
you
then why
expect.
would-
That's
that's
what you
what you just
expect
told
from
me,
women,
but
to
about
be
men.
submissive to you.
You panicked when a
Wait,
guy
what?
had an unloaded rifle. Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, wouldn't you
Like,
if someone had a gun towards you? If you didn't know
an
if it was
unloaded
or not?
rifle? That your boyfriend
moment
walked
that
around
you
with an
know it was
unloaded
loaded or
rifle?
not.
Should we
No,
play
I
the
knew
other
it
one?
wasn't loaded.
Let's do
That's
the
what
other
I was
one
like,
really
what are
quick.
you doing?
All right. What about this? What about this? Okay. All right. Now this is more. This is really intense.
That is so sick.
This is.
He chose to do that. Ain't nobody told him
Like,
to get
no
that
one
job.
has to.
That's the, well, someone
Here's
has
the
to
reality.
do it.
Yeah, somebody has to do it. Women ain't trying to do this shit.
I would do that shit.
You see the lights in here? You see the lights? You
You
know when
would?
it's fucking freezing?
You would do that?
Some women would. But you know the
Do y'all
people-
enjoy light? Do you like
What do you
electricity?
do? Well, like, what do you do right now?
You? Me?
Yeah.
I just moved here, so I'm just in school.
Yes.
Well, what have you done before as
Like
a job?
work?
Yeah.
I was a ride operator.
You were a what?
A ride operator?
What is that?
I operated rides at Six
Like a
Flags.
carny.
At Six
Full
Flags?
throttle.
You mean you had the little switch panel and you push the button and it made the ride go?
Yeah.
You just want to make sure I got it. You would climb up there in the middle of a snowstorm, do that job?
I would. If
You
I was
would.
trained, yeah.
Anyways, all right.
I believe you.
That was interesting. We need to get through a couple things here, so let's see. Or you said something? Sorry, really quick, your thing?
I forgot what I said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course that happened.
I mean,
all
can you
right.
remind me what I said so I can back myself up?
Huh?
I really forgot, so if you
What,
can
I
remind
was
me.
like,
then
do
I
you
know what I'm
guys
talking
Oh, the
enjoy?
spider thing.
I was like, do you guys enjoy electricity? And
Yeah,
you're like,
so-
do you?
about. Well, yeah, right.
the difference
I mean,
is-
can you survive off of it? You can't.
Yeah, but the difference is I acknowledge that if it wasn't
I
for
can.
men who are in infrastructure jobs, we would not be enjoying the electricity which we have.
It's just electricity. Like, yeah, men do the job for it, but like
You-
at the end of the day,
Do you realize how
why are
important
you, like, praising
electricity
of-
is? Even if we didn't remove
It's just electricity.
if a
bro.
female
If-
wanted to do that,
hold on.
then
Even
she
if we
can
didn't
too.
get rid of like the sewage and the telecoms and the trucking and the
Girl,
transportation.
I've no girls are truckers
Hold on.
too.
Okay.
They
Even if we didn't get
transport.
rid of those other things, do you realize how pampered the lives we live are? If we singularly got rid of electricity, we would all be like collectively panicking and fucked. If it's in the winter, we're dead.
Yeah,
No,
I
not all of us.
100%
Not-
agree with you.
not
I
me.
never
I'm
said
good.
I
The
did
human
it.
race
But I
survived
just
and
asked
no
you,
electricity.
don't you need electricity
Like, that was
too?
the thing.
I,
Yes,
that's all I
but I'm
asked you.
grateful for the men who provide it,
Perfect.
while
I'm
your
grateful for
pampered
having
asses
electricity.
have contempt for men.
I'm grateful for everybody that has put the
And you
effort to
don't-
give us electricity. Everybody, male, female. Because you're telling me not one female has not helped?
Of course.
Oh my
It's all
God.
just male,
Also,
male,
though,
male, male,
yeah.
male.
I mean, there's
Men
also,
are look here. Here's the point blank.
We need someone to
Men-
sign the paychecks for sure.
Men are unilaterally responsible for every bit of comfort and security you are currently ungratefully enjoying. That's the difference. I acknowledge.
pay my taxes.
I don't have that kind of job, but I.
Touch My Blade donated $200. Internet is cool. Phones are fun. Any deep sea divers in the group? What is your favorite welder? You more a mig or gal?
I mean, there was an era where electricity didn't exist and the human race did just fine. That doesn't mean it's not a great thing. But also, if we're going to talk about what roles
do you
are
think they were
more
doing
important than
before that,
another
though?
one, if we're going to talk women, if women are delegated to second class whatever roles,
That's
those
not-
are okay. Well, if
All
you
right,
think there are
what-
certain
go ahead.
positions meant for women, and then we,
I'm not even saying that. But go ahead. Go ahead.
so
go
you're
ahead.
saying nothing is then.
Just go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead with your point.
If those are caregivers, nurturers, educators, are those not just as important as
Nope.
the physical aspects of this world?
Nope.
So if women are delegated to these roles, or if they're better at these roles, it's because they have specific traits that men don't, which is empathy, caring, love, whatever. And that's not to say men don't, but it's
Well,
less.
no, that
and so what
wouldn't
if it's
entail
just
that
the
they-
world of men who are in like the higher class levels? Then is it
No,
a world of
wait,
like sociopaths?
higher class. Wait, what do you mean higher class levels?
I mean, sorry, like you said first class or first level, second
oh,
level.
you're going back
whatever.
to Andrew's argument.
Yeah, so when you're talking about traits, so I'd reject your first premise where you say women are doing these jobs because they have traits which acclimate them to the job. So I just kind of reject that and say, well, no, I think that they do those jobs because they don't have the traits to do the other ones.
That's what you're assuming.
So then
though.
men are doing the roles that they're doing because they have better traits.
Well, they
but
have the
women just don't have any
capacity-
traits
they
that
have the
apply in
capacity-
Or they
position.
prefer it.
I'm
Okay, so
trying
then
to-
you're saying that
well,
women do
you
the
Let me
nurturing.
answer the question. Hang on. Let me answer it. Okay?
Uh.
What I'm saying is that if you were to take away the idea that, it could be that women are only relegated to do these jobs because they have the best traits to do the jobs. I would just give the kind of counter response that no, they're relegated to do those jobs, even though men can do those jobs because those are the
Not as
jobs
well.
that women are capable of doing, even though men are equally as capable of doing them. And by the way, I will go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt that I'm wrong. All you have to do is give me a single job that you think that men are not just as capable of women at doing, and I will do the same with men to you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, parenting, mothering, nurturing, educating.
What parent? Wait,
Educating,
I'm sorry.
definitely educating.
Hang on, I just want to make sure.
Anything that has a
One at a time. So let's start with mothering, right? You would agree with me that women only do that job because they're the only ones who can be mothers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but-
Great, then
But
it
when
is.
you're talking about parenting, there's no way you're ever going to say that women are just better parents than men, or men can't do that job as well as women, right?
But
You would say that?
I would say yes. More fathers are absent than mothers.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the capability of men to do the job of parenting is not equal to that of women.
How?
Oh, then a woman
Because
can easily
you're
do electricity.
making you're making this kind of great conflation that because they can't. I'm making the exact opposite
So because
argument.
women don't go for these jobs, they can't?
No. That's a different argument. So your argument was if they're relegated to those roles by men, then they're relegated to those roles because men think that they're valuable in those roles because they have the traits that acclimate them to those roles. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying no, that men can easily do those jobs just as easily as they can do the jobs that they're in now, but the reverse is not true.
Okay.
So when you say parenting, I think that men are just as capable of parenting as women.
Okay, we can disagree.
You don't think they're just as capable?
So why is it that you
Wait,
think...
hang on. You don't think they're just as
Well,
capable?
I think just like you don't think women aren't as capable for certain positions, I think men aren't as capable for other positions
What?
that are equally as important
What?
that I just named.
What?
Educating, nurturing, parenting, literally
Why-
any
wait.
of these roles that you think are delegated.
You think
delegated
why?
to women. Well,
What?
then why do you think these other
Well,
positions
I'll
that
tell
men
you.
have
I'll tell
are-
you.
Tell me.
I'll tell you. But
Sure.
let's start. We already went over soldiering, for instance, right? And no, women are not just capable of men at soldiering. No, they're not.
I didn't say they were.
Now, I'm saying that's my example then. Your example. I would like you to give me whatever your evidentiary is that men are not just as good at educators as women. Let's look at professorships. Let's look globally at professorships.
Well, then let's look at
hang on. Let's
doctors
look
and
at scholars.
lawyers and
Let's look at
engineers
doctors.
that
Let's
have
look
had
at lawyers.
awards that
let's-
are women.
Well, wait. I'm not disputing that women can do those jobs. Never disputed it. I'm just telling you that men can do them equally as good. And so if that's the case, I'm giving you counterexamples where women can't do this job equally as good.
Like sanitation?
So I really don't understand the equation, right?
And also in terms of parenting, if you look at the stats of single mother households compared to single father households, the single mother households are much more likely to produce criminals, to produce people who are mentally ill, to produce people who live in poverty, feminists, male feminists, and the like.
Male
The
feminists.
father isn't
Those
present,
mother.
and a baby needs both parents.
No, this is
Wait,
statistics.
wait.
Yeah.
Hold on. Jake, can you give your concrete?
See, that's a
concreting
great
example?
feminist counter. Actually, the great great feminist counter is, well, that's because men aren't present. So all the data is coming from single mom households because there's so many of them to choose from. I agree with that. Actually, that's a great counterpoint.
Thank you.
The problem is that
Okay.
now we're able to. Now the court system has changed. Men are able to get custody of their children more. So now what we can do is we can look at the data of.
That's true. They struggle more in court.
Yep. So now we can look at the data of what happens when you grow up in a single father household versus single mother, and we can draw it 1-to-1. The outcomes are still better in a single father household than single mother.
Well, that's a very.
I think that's very
blanketed
opinion.
statement.
Wait.
That's
so,
not opinion.
Jake,
There's a
do you
lot
want
of
to give
it
your
is.
concreting
It is.
example? Then I'm going to move it on to dating.
I was just going to say, do you guys like Barack Obama? Do you think he was a good president?
Yes.
By
Yeah,
the way, you can
well,
also find
I'm
that
supposed to
data
politically-
that I just cited on the Substack of Rachel Wilson. She got all of it together so that you can see for yourself in single father versus single mother households how they fare differently.
Okay, I can look into that.
Well, it was Barack Obama who actually said that they're 20 times more likely to end up in prison. And I'm not sure the other statistics, but
Poverty.
far more likely to end up in poverty and far more likely to end up in prison. Oh,
And
no, in
with-
But
prison,
why?
prison,
But why is
poverty.
that? So you're saying if you ended up single and you had a kid, your kid would be the most complete trash just because you're singly mothering
That's
him?
not what I'm saying.
That's a very
But that's what
extreme
you're
place to
agreeing
take
with
it
me
to.
on,
It's
though.
just based off of actual numbers.
No, but like
These
you,
are
I'm talking about
actual
you though.
statistics.
You. If you were a
You seem
single
like you'd be
mother-
pretty happy in a world where women are just like pushed down and they don't
Like,
really get to do
you
whatever
wanna
they want.
beg, you want to
I mean,
bow
yeah.
down to a guy?
You gonna
Yes.
take that?
Like, yeah? Really?
It's in my faith
all-
as
you
a
want all
Christian
your
woman.
hardworking
horrifying.
money to go to
Can
a
we
man.
end this now?
The
I don't
feminism
think I should
in
be
this
working.
room is
Hold on a
That's
second. Hold on a second.
horrific.
Let
That's
her.
horrific.
wait,
I think you
let her-
deserve the world.
Let her respond. You gonna take
I
that?
think that women, we compliment men very well, just like they compliment us very well. They're excellent protectors, providers, and leaders.
So, but
and that's
you're
how they're
saying you're not
supposed to
though.
be.
You're not an excellent provider, leader,
Why should
lover.
I don't think that women should be the providers. I think men should be the
Okay,
providers.
Serena Joy.
I'm not saying you're the provider. I'm
Right.
asking you if you feel like you should bow down to a man,
I
just
don't need
because
to
he
bow
gives
down,
you
but I
everything.
like
Do you
to
give
be
him nothing
submissive
though?
To my man, yes. That's what I believe in. That's what it says in my Bible. That says how I'm supposed to honor my husband, and he's supposed to love me just as that you're supposed to love the church.
Throw
You
it
can
back at
honor your husband, respect him, but it should also be love towards both from both sides. Like you should not feel like you need to bow down to a man,
It is love on both sides.
but you're bowing down to a man.
I'm not bowing down to him. I'm
You
complimenting
just
him.
said you would.
Can I cut in for a second?
Yes,
Who
yes.
the fuck cares? Who cares?
I mean, if
about
that's how
I'm gonna
somebody
bow-
wants to
no,
live
no,
in
no,
their
no,
life.
not about you. Like, who cares if you're gonna bow down to a man or if you're gonna be the leader? Like, fuck feminism first off, because it is so annoying. Like, you
Exactly.
can be a woman. Listen, you can be a woman and support women's rights, but not put down men because of it. You're sitting there
That's not what I was
talking
doing.
shit about them. You are so sweet, but I'm pissed off. Like, it is just so aggravating. How are you
Wait,
gonna
into the
get-
mic, please. Into the mic.
Sorry. How are you going to get upset if she wants to bow down to her man because of her religion or how she feels?
I'm not getting upset. I'm just asking her a question.
Yeah, what you know about that? I think that was directed at you, by the way, what she said.
Yeah, I
so
know it was, and I said she was
Yeah.
sweet, but I'm still mad.
I think you should
What are you gonna curb
take her to
stomp?
task for
I
it.
will not.
Curb stomper.
We just disagree. I just